Welcome to today's Power Monday. Karibuni sana. So, who is willing to introduce Power Monday to us today before Dr. Lucita comes on with a poem? Any volunteer who is willing to introduce Power Monday today? Anyway, I thought where we are at with our relationship right now, someone will just volunteer and say, I am introducing Power Monday today. But anyway, sorry. But anyway, I think I was wrong. Or anyone to prove me wrong?
But let me just say that welcome everyone to Power Monday. Power Monday is a CSR initiative of Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited, almost always sponsored by ICT Gurus EA Limited. And it started as a book club in 2020, thereabout, when people were afraid of COVID. Negativity was pervading, was penetrating everywhere. So some people came together and felt like something needed to be done. And so this was birthed. And we said that every morning on a Monday, when people are going to start their week, we can give them some reason to wake up and to have positive energy as they go start their duties. And so this has been on for now almost exactly 5 years. This year we are celebrating 5 years. In October we will have a dinner for that. There is no strings attached. You just click in the link and join, listen in, and over time lots of things have been added along the way, including meet and greets that I was talking about. So we're going to have a meet and greet the next week on Saturday, and we've been doing that like 3 times. And we also have a WhatsApp group that started along the way. It was not at the beginning there, and so people keep sharing. And on Wednesdays we have market day. So that is Live Your Dream for now, and ours is to empower you, equip you with ideas, with knowledge that helps you to grow, and of course then live your dream. And that is our passion, that you may live your dream. And
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Otieno Paul Peter. Asante sana. Dr. Lucita, where are you?
I am here. Good
Okay, thank you.
morning, everyone. You're
Good morning.
like, where are we in this relationship? What are we? What are we?
Exactly. Who are we in this
We are
relationship? We need
we.
to
How
define
can you
this
not
relationship.
define it?
We need to define it's like someone, it's like you're married and then you're with your husband and someone asks, and who is this? And your husband looks at you like, who are you? Anyway, so Dr. Lucita, kindly go ahead, and then immediately after you're going to introduce the speaker of the day.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to do that normal poem that we love. That's money. I wrote it the last minute last evening when I was thinking about what is the best thing that I can present today. So I thought about the song of money, money, money. So I'm going to do money, money, money. Money, 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 pesa, chipese. The pockets seem empty. It comes and it goes. It's like a river flowing. No one knows through its hands. It slips like a fleeting snow. Money. Money whispers power. It shouts desire. It's like a burning fuel, a raging fire, yet it leaves you hollow, lost, and tired. You see, money builds towers, it breaks the chains, it fuels the dreams, it hides the pains. It's like a double-edged sword. It rules, it reigns, it breaks. Money. Money buys feast, it fills the plate, but it cannot mend a heart of hate, nor will it heal broken wounds. You see, money paints the world gold and green. It's like a fleeting mask, a hollow that is sheen, yet it hides the truth behind the scene. Money. Money fuels the wars, it builds the peace, a fragile thread that will not cease. It's like a cycle spinning with no release. Money is money. Money flows like water. It burns like a flame. It's like a fleeting shadow. It's like a passing name. Yet still we play with its endless game. Money, you're curious. You're like a song that we sing, a bell that we ring. Yet in your shadows, what do we bring? We keep chasing you. Money. Thank you. And right ahead, I proceed to introduce the speaker. Our speaker today goes by the name Esther Macharia Agufana. Esther is a business consultant, a trainer with over 20 years experience. She has served in the micro, small and medium enterprise business in the economy while working in the notable financial institutions in Kenya and as an entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, she's innovative, she's dynamic, and she's highly energetic with proven ability to identify and capitalize on business opportunities. She has previously achieved breakthroughs in mentoring individuals and businesses at startup and growth stages. Esther has been engaged in training and consulting assignments by developmental bodies like World Bank through International Finance Corporation, NGOs, Tier 1 banks, and microfinance institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, her burning desire is to economically empower the community through capacity building. She is the CEO of G-Try Company Limited as a business consulting and a training company where she handholds businesses to achieve their goals. Academically, she holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree specializing in marketing from the University of Nairobi. She has an MBA specializing in finance from Maseno University. She is a member of Rotary Club Kitengela. Esther is married to one Mr. Edward Agufana, and she is a mother to two beautiful girls, Cynthia and Naomi. Ladies and gentlemen, with your favorite emojis, allow me to welcome Esther Macharia Agufana.
Thank you, Dr. Rusita. That is what you get when you're introduced by a poet and makes your profile sound poetic. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank LYD for believing in me and having me in this particular session. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you. I would probably like to get a confirmation if you can hear me clearly. And of course, for those who are able to see that, you're able to see Esther Macharia, because I believe communication is 55% body language. I think I can see Paul giving me kidole. In other words, we are good. So today, I'll just dive in and would like to really discuss this topic on debt management. We are discussing debt. And I believe that this is something that everyone at a certain stage in our lives we experience. But before we go into it, and because we have all experienced it, or we have seen other people experience it, if we have never, then I think it will be very important for us to first of all learn just from the chart. I don't know that it's Dr. Rusita or Paul who will help me in this. what would you like to learn today? Which is the one thing that you'd like to learn today? On chat, let's just interact on chat. What would you like to learn? Just type it on chat. And as they come in, if you are able to see Paul, you
Yeah,
can just,
I'll take them for you.
yes. Are you able to get it? What would you
Uh,
like?
People, yeah, they are starting to come. How not to get in debt? That's from
Mhm.
Odhiambo Lale. Lady Noel, good and bad debt. Then how to how to borrow wisely to do personal projects. That is from Maurice. And then we have Sheila, how to clear my debts and stay debt free by building sustainable wealth and income. And then the do's and don'ts of debt. That's from Kevin. How I can manage debt without developing blood pressure. That's from
Okay.
Lawrence Ambayo. How
Wow.
to clear increasing debt. Yeah, there are quite a number. The game
Okay.
called Debt. That's by Vince, uh, who was with us
Okay.
here last week. Yes, many of them.
Thank you, Paul. And you can see they are coming in fast and furious. That means with all these things that you're looking forward to learning, good debt, bad debt, how to clear debt, how to get debt for my personal development, and you can see them all coming on board. And those are some of the things that we'll discuss during this particular session. We'll try to go through it as fast as possible. And probably, I don't know why Paul decided to choose me to do this topic. Probably there is something he knows about me that at one point probably I was seriously in debt and got out. I don't know what he's
That would be
expecting
a
me to
good
be
one.
sharing
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, by the way, in Power Monday, we love people to relate their story and be an authority.
yeah.
You cannot talk about, we cannot pick you from elsewhere to talk about something you don't know.
But I think also it goes with age. By the time you get to a certain level in your life, you have gotten into debt. The issue is, will it kill you or will you kill it? And that is what really matters. So in today's session, the key objective is that by the end of it, you'll be able to explain why we get into debt. And then you also be able to explain how to get out of debt. I'm talking about explaining because explaining is very easy and it's something that we can achieve within these minutes that we are here. In terms of what you do with the knowledge, that is where power comes in. The power is not in the knowledge. The power is in the application of knowledge. So that is what we shall really be looking into. Why do we get in debt? How do we get out of debt? And in this, we shall discuss four main things. What is debt? How do we get? Why do we get into debt? And how do you get out of the debt cycle? Okay. Then how do you get into debt? Before we go to how you get out, how do you get into debt? And as we go through all these, for you to be able to learn better, I would like to ask you, participate. Wherever, like now, the first question, and you're able to participate, let us participate. Don't hold back. By the way, here, there is no judgment. It's a neutral ground. What happens here remains here. And after that, you just take your knowledge, go with it, and go and just put it on that. Let's get phones on silent mode so you don't hear them ringing somewhere in the background, or you even unmuting. And then let's respect each other's opinion because we are all here to learn and to be able to interact with each other. So even me, don't judge me, just respect my opinion. Okay. And my story, because this is my story and I own it. So we are just going to go into this particular area. And as we do it, I think before I say what I got into and why probably I am here, I'll just like to ask you, from your perspective, what is debt? On chat, what is debt? You know, we may be talking about something that people don't know how to define.
Anasema deni ni deni.
Yeah, and just as you are talking about that, and we are waiting for what is that, somebody actually talked about how to get how to get whatever collect their debt, how to collect debts from friends and relatives.
Okay. So I want to know about which you are collecting. What is it? What is this debt? Let's hear.
You owe someone else
You owe
something.
someone.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is what Rhoda says. And then that is money to owed to well, I think it's owed to others, but it's not owed to others.
Yeah. Money owed to others.
Yeah, an obligation undertaker to be repaid. I think it should be undertake
Yes.
to be repaid within a stipulated time. Money borrowed
Mm-hmm.
from someone. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those ones are coming in.
Okay, and we can see the theme is the same. It's money borrowed, but from someone. You have an obligation to pay back to somebody. This is what debt is all about. You decide to go to somebody, and most of the time, there is this African thing that we usually say, give me money. Give me money. But actually, what you're saying, you are borrowing. You know, when you give, what is given should never be returned. But what is borrowed should be returned. So even sometimes the language is what makes us not get paid. Because somebody came and what they said, can you give me some money? And you gave. When you gave, it is not repaid. But when somebody borrows, then they can repay. So in this case, we are talking that borrowing that was done. It is money that is owed. And as we get into this, I want to just tell you, at one point in my life, I thought I needed to get into development. I needed to expand myself. I needed to get another income stream. So I decided the best way to do this is to get into real estate because I knew I'm a Kikuyu and the rich people are usually in real estate. You must have a shamba, you must have some rental somewhere along the line. So I decided that is where I am going to get into. Okay. And so I decided to borrow. I was in a position to borrow. I was working in the bank. In the bank, money is address. So it is possible for you to borrow from that particular angle. And I went in, I did my plans, I did everything. I had all the documentation. Shamba ilikuwa, so the title was there. My architect did a very good job, came up with great buildings. I was going to build a flat. So I went in and borrowed. At first, you know how you get in? You test. You decide, I am first of all going to borrow. I decided from the word go, my plan was, I will build in phases. I will not be in a situation where I'm taking the whole burden. So I decided I'll borrow money to start the foundation. After I pay, I complete, then I continue with the rest. So I borrowed my first of all, I borrowed an 800,000. I did the foundation up to a certain level. Then that was repaid very fast. I went in and decided I need to borrow a 2 million to put up the structure to a certain extent. And Paul, in case you get to a point where you can't hear me, just alert me. So I put up the structure. After I put up the structure, and I'm paying my money. Now here I have the structure, and I went on to borrow, and I was borrowing in the bank. I realized I cannot pay the bank money fast enough. I needed to go to my circle because I had a circle and I had some savings. So I borrowed more money from the circle that went towards this particular building. So I was able to put the slab for the first floor. And I got the money. So now this time I'm paying the bank loan and I'm also paying the circle loan. As I was paying the circle loan with the secured loan, I realized I have a leeway for a personal unsecured loan. I went to the personal unsecured loan and borrowed some to do the finishing of the house. Seriously, this is very reasonable. And the reason I was doing the finishing of the house,
There were also some tenants who are coming to ask, when will you ever complete these houses? So I completed my first 3 houses on ground floor. And within no time, tenants came on board. Remember, this is the Esther who had decided they are building slowly. Now I'm in a situation where I have 3 loans that I'm paying. But tenants have come on board, so they're also helping me to do the payment. There was no strain. Things were very good. And somehow I was managing quite well. Then I sat down and called myself to a certain meeting and asked myself, what would happen if I completed the whole of this building at once? Imagine the amount of rent that I'll be getting. And within no time, the whole place will be so packed and will have people. So I went back to my bank and I asked for money. They told me, no, we can't give you much. We can only give you 5 million according to the kind of leeway that you have. I was even going for a commercial loan. I decided my bank does not know very well. I decided to go to another bank, still a commercial bank. And they told me, you know what? We can give you money. All that you need from where you are, we will buy off your bank loan, what you have. Remember, the bank loans that they are buying, I'm paying at a staff rate. But for them, they are giving me at commercial. But they told me we'll give you 10 million. To complete the building that you have, you're only going to take ABCD millions. So I saw it as a good idea. Imagine me, a banker, a finance person, I'm a finance professional. I did even masters in finance, but I jumped to the other side. They bought off my loans. I went to the other side. I got my 10 million. The amount of money that they bought off was about 2 million. So they paid. So I got 8 million with me. And haraka sana, by the way, I did not divert finances. I went ahead and really built the building. My building was about a kilometer from the road? And it was the only flat in that area. Within no time, I think people discovered we can build flats in this area. So others who are nearer the road started building flats. My tenants who used to walk all the way inside so that they can move nearer to the road. Others were in a place where they decided they needed to move to their houses. So they moved out. Here I am with about there were about how many? 4 times 12 houses. Out of the 12 houses in the flat, people move in, move out, and you're left with 2 tenants. And there is a loan to pay. And one is a big one at commercial rate. So you find yourself, you get in and you start now even borrowing more. Your money now, because you have to take the whole of your salary towards payment of loan, you need to survive. Good thing, they are mobile loans. So your mobile loans become survival rate. So you borrow, by the time the salary hits, you first of all pay this one. After you pay that one, you borrow again. So I had about 3 mobile loans moving. You have the circle loan and you have the bank loan. You actually haven't even, you went back to your employer and even borrowed some more in the process. So you're having 2 banks, circle, and a number of about 3 mobile loans circulating. Can I tell you, what may have looked like a very good loan became my nightmare. It was such a nightmare. And I'll tell you even why it became even a bigger nightmare, because I decided I need to live in my own house. So in the process, because there was mortgage, I had also borrowed a mortgage from my employer for my house. And I decided I'm not going to live a very bad life. So I had a mortgage of about 9 million. I had banker's loan, the circle loan, of about 2 million. That makes it 11. And I had a commercial loan with another bank of 10 million. So I was carrying with me 21 million without even counting the circulating loans of mobile loans. At that point, that is when I knew things are tough. Can I tell you, I got sick. Twice I was diagnosed with fatigue. At one point, I got such a headache, migraine, that made me even black out a bit. By the time I was being taken by an ambulance to MRI, I did not know what was happening. And it is after that moment I decided, I started giving myself the advice I had always given people. Once you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. So I stopped digging. First, I went to the person who had given me the commercial loan, and I told them, I can't pay. Take your building. They told me, we are not going to take. I told them, you have no other. If you don't take it, I'm stopping. I'm not paying anymore. I'm not going to live this life anymore. So after a lot of negotiation, they brought in somebody who told me, negotiate with this one who can be able to sell for you your building. Good thing, I was able to sell that building, pay off the commercial loan, pay off the bank loan, pay off the circle loan. Then went ahead and cleared all my mobile banking loans. And in the process, I became a person who had no debts. And from that time, I decided myself and debt, I think there is something that I have learned. It has been good. It is time to move on. So why did I get into debt? There is something that makes us get into debt. Something that most of us don't have. We don't have the virtue of patience or delayed gratification. We become greedy along the line. Even when we say we have got good debt, there is good debt and bad debt that is supposed to be there. We became greedy. Debt becomes bad when you pay it with your blood, your sweat and blood. You're the one who is paying it. Any good debt should be manageable enough to be paid by your customers and not you. If I had gone slowly, my tenants would have continued paying the amount as required. The installment was enough, but I became greedy to the point of going for a commercial loan, which could not be paid. The rate of return in real estate, there is no way it can be at 16%. So definitely you'll not be able to pay. But if I had confined myself to that point where my tenants would have paid, that would have been good. The other thing, financing real estate with 100% debt is suicidal. You should at least have 50% of the money. The why, it's the greed, can I call it? The issue, we don't want to have delayed gratification. If you are not able to save towards it, to a certain extent, even gathering 50% of the money, can you stop? Because that debt will kill you. So you start slowly. It's usually a slow fade, like you had the how. You start with one. You think it is so sweet. You go for more. You go for more. It is a situation where you are thinking you are living a certain kind of life today, but you always find there are opportunities to get more and more debt. And let me tell you, in Kenya, anywhere in the world, there is enough space for more debt. And there is always somebody willing to give you debt. It's only you who can control yourself. It's usually a slow fade. You don't even realize it. It's like that frog that is put in the water before the water boils. And the frog boils with the water. So it just becomes warm and does not realize that the water is getting hot. It is only at that point when it is so hot and it cannot jump out, and it will die in the water. It is unlike a situation where you put a frog in hot water, immediately it will jump out. So when you're getting into debt, it's usually a slow fade. You get in slowly, a little bit more here, a little bit more there. You should be asking, must it be done today? Can I save a little bit more? Can I complete this one before I get into another one? The issue that comes on board, it's a character issue. And it is something that only you can work on. The fact that I need to delay myself from getting what I want to get into. And you give yourself all kinds of excuses of why you need to get there. Ask yourself, is that the true reason? Probably you want to be known as the flat owner, the real estate owner at that particular point. Or it is taking too long to go where? Let me ask you, too long to go where? At now, how will people see me if they don't find me with this? Who has ever asked you as a question in terms of the way you are living your life? But you bring in more and more. When you find yourself in that particular situation, it's to ask yourself, now what do I do? You will get sick. I can tell you that. Ask yourself, now what? What I say, when you find yourself in a hole, the only way out is to stop digging. First of all, say no, not more debt. Then it is okay to give up and go to your banker or to the person you and tell them, I am not able to pay. That tells you, do not hold on to what you call assets or what you own. If you can sell it to get out of debt, sell it. I sold that building. It was, by the way, it was an emotional process parting away with a building you have built for some years. It was emotional. It affected quite a number of people. My contractor was my dad. So he's the one who used to go and buy those cement. He was the one who was in the building. Now telling him, I'm letting go of this. It was a family discussion. You have got the whole of your family, your children, your spouse, used to go and visit that particular building. And to them, it's a status symbol, even for you. And now you have to let go. Can you learn how to let go? How many plots of land are you holding, and yet you're in debt, and they're not bringing anything? If you're holding on to an asset that has a negative cash flow, and probably that is what made you get into debt, be ready to let go. And I can tell you, it's an emotional process. So you need to work on yourself by knowing it's okay to let go. It's a relationship that is ready. Sell it, clear your debt. The other thing, start with the most expensive debt and pay off. The mobile loans, by the way, uninstall those apps. Uninstall and forget they ever exist. Then always have a conversation with yourself that I do not need it now. It can always be tomorrow. Today, I have learned how to save and do my projects. I save, I do my project. I will save and buy my assets. If I am to get into debt, I always ask, are my customers able to pay for this debt? Because there is no way Esther is paying for another debt. All the debts that come on board must be paid by my customers. If my customers cannot pay the debt, then I'm not paying it with my blood and sweat. And that way, I avoid fatigue, I avoid any kind of sickness that may come about. So I only take debt that can be paid by my customers. I don't take debt that Esther can pay. So first of all, go out and look for enough customers who can pay your debt. You don't take debt to furnish your house. There is no customer who is paying for that debt. Your house, there is no customer who is there unless your children have become customers. So it is only money that can be paid by somebody else that you take. When you buy food using mobile loan, it is you who is paying for it with your sweat and blood. So the thing is, if it will take you to just eat your basic food, take your sukuma wiki and your ugali. It is a balanced diet. Then you can buy 2 eggs. It is okay. For quite some time, you'll be very healthy, but don't go for that debt. So the key thing is that delayed gratification, and always asking yourself, who is paying for this debt? Who is going to pay for this debt? If it is you who is paying for it, do not take it. And then the other thing I'll tell you very clearly, if you have never learned the principle of saving, never take debt. Learn how, first of all, to save before you get to the area where you start taking debt. I've always had, and somebody else was telling me the other day, they owed somebody some money. They were like, I'm just waiting to be confirmed. Then I'll be eligible to take debt. I can start paying you. The question is, as you are doing that, you're waiting to be confirmed to start paying somebody. You will take the loan. There is an installment to pay, yet you have paid somebody else. So you have borrowed from your employer to pay Peter. Why don't you start before the confirmation? The amount that you have paid as installment for the loan, start paying that person. Start paying that person. Why take a debt to pay another person? Why don't you go and sit down with them? I owe you 30,000. I'm only able to pay you 5,000 per month. Instead of waiting for that time I'll get a loan so I can pay you, why don't we start with the 5,000 per month? And remember, this is an interest-free loan. How can you go to borrow a loan with interest to pay somebody else? It shows lack of judgment. And this is where the bad debt comes in. Okay? Then you always ask yourself, what is the rate of return of the debt, of the investment I'm going to make with the money that I'm paying? You go in there. Yes, you have borrowed, you say that you're going to take into business. What is the profitability of your business as compared to the interest rate that you're going to pay? Because these are financing costs. Right now, in the Kenyan environment, where are you going to get a debt that is less than 16%? You tell yourself the circle is 12%. 12%, but remember, you have got your money inside there. You're not being given a that. So is it really 12%? 12% of what? You have 100,000, you borrow 300,000. So what the circle has lent you is actually 200,000, but you're paying interest for a 300,000 loan. So what is your rate of return? What is your real interest rate, your cost of capital in that case, as compared to the business that you're going to invest in? Unless your business is bringing you a rate of return of 30%, then you can go ahead and borrow. But otherwise, if it was possible for you, as much as possible, you plow back the profits that you're getting, then you only borrow when you're expanding your business. Because through expansion of business, you're getting more customers on board. So the more customers are the ones who will be paying the loan, and not you. And not even your current customers who are sustaining your lifestyle right now. In terms of, you're asking, what is the incremental cash flow that I'm going to get out of acquiring this debt? So my idea, and today what I bring to you is, always ask yourself, must it be done today? So that you can actually employ the principle of delayed gratification. Then the other thing, always ask yourself, what do I have in hand before I go to borrow? Never borrow 100%, especially to finance and investments. Can I say a business? Because a business is what brings you customers. Investments brings on board dividends, interest income, and all the others. And I can tell you, they are not at the same rate as the interest rate of a loan, especially in the Kenyan environment. And if you are elsewhere, you look at the interest rate in your regime and ask yourself, how much are we getting back from our customers? Then always don't borrow that which you have to pay with your sweat and blood. You will get sick, you get stressed, you will jump off a building. You have had even people who look very good, like these are together, but they jump off buildings, mostly because of debt. The other thing is, you don't have to live like your neighbor. No one is talking about you. Everybody is very busy with their lives. stop comparing yourself. You don't have to buy that big vehicle because the other person has it. You don't have to move to that neighborhood. Getting into the cycle of an increment in income means an increment in lifestyle. And you get into that cycle. By then, no one is concerned with their life. People have so many problems of their own. If you got into debt, if you move to that neighborhood, so and so may see you, don't worry. There is another one whom you're going to think is your measure of, is your SI unit of life. So what I say is that the issue of being content in the situation that you are in is going to help you a lot in debt management. It's a character issue. It is not a money issue. So the only thing that you can do is to call yourself for a meeting. First of all, know, why did I get into it? How did I get into it? What was my process? The process you employed in getting into it, reverse it. That is the only way. You reverse it. Now, the worst part is if you borrowed everything to eat, because the stomach is never enough, it is not an asset you can't sell. So you have to get to an area where you start going to negotiate with your creditors. And you start paying pole pole. That is slowly start paying, and then you start with the most expensive debt. The moment that is out of the way, then go to the next. Have a conversation with your family to tell them we are going to scale down. The ones who is really, the people who are for you, they will stay with you. They will stay with you through the long haul of you scaling down. The others who will leave you. That is the truth. Debt is relational. Your spouse may leave after they realize how much debt you have. And when you tell them that we have to scale down. So you must be ready for that emotional process. And with that, I believe I have talked quite a bit. And I would like to throw it back to you. 1, 4 questions, and eventually to get to know what have you learned. It's a short one. Debt management is a big topic. I only decided let's just tackle it using those 4 questions in a very short way. And I hope that you have been able to learn something, but I would like to welcome question at this juncture. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That is powerful, emotional, and nothing less than what I expected. For people who don't know, Esther is a certified trainer and coach and with lots of experience. And so I knew this is something she's going to do very well. And she continues to train the same. So there were a few questions.
Yes.
Somebody asked, certain debts must be incurred in investment. Is it a bad idea? I think you've alluded to that, but maybe you can make it black and white. That's the Rhoda. Rhoda asked that. And then there is the other question which you could join together. Is credit card good?
Okay, let me first of all start with the one for the investment. First of all is to define what is investment. What do you really get out of investment? Once you invest, mostly there are 3 main areas that you invest. Is it 3 or 4 main areas that you invest in? Once you invest, you can invest and get dividends. You invest and get interest income. Okay. You can invest, get dividends, or you invest and get dividend income. That means, where are you investing? You can invest in shares of a company, either that you own, you are part owner. Of course, when you have shares, you are owning. So the result is dividends. Then interest income will mostly come when you have invested in bonds. That means you are lending to the government, or even you are lending to the corporates. You have done some treasury bills that you have done inside there. You have gone to the money market, that is in terms of saving, and you get your income. That is investment. Most of the people confuse profit that you get from investment. When you put money into a business and you get profit, that is profit. That is not, can I say, is it an investment? It is a business that you're getting into. The investment comes on board when that business pays you a dividend. And the dividend comes about after you have profit, the taxes have been paid, and you declare a certain amount is going to go to me as a dividend. Then that way you can say, my business now has gotten to the level of becoming an investment as a shareholder. But we start making mistakes from the word go, and we call it an investment when you just go and start taking profit from the business and you decide that is just your money. And that is where you end up in the cycle of debt, of borrowing. You borrow to create profit. You don't borrow to do the investment. And that is why we say you don't borrow to buy shares. You don't borrow to go and buy bonds. You can borrow to go and do business. So the first thing that the clarity that needs to come on board, are you investing or is it a business where what you're looking for is profit? Okay, so for that particular person, that is the conversation that needs to be there. If it is profit, there is a difference between, even in a business, between the profit and the dividend that come on board. So this is what I say. Borrow to create profit because your customer is the one who brings the profit. And eventually when the profit is a lot, you can be left with some to divide up as dividend. Then you say your investment actually brought you some money. That is investment in that particular business. But remember, it all came about because of the profit that was brought by the customer, not the loan that you borrowed to probably go towards working capital or to buy an asset in the business. But you don't borrow to buy shares, you don't borrow to take into bonds. So that is it. Then credit card. I always have a credit card with me for emergency. The moment you know how to use a credit card, then a credit card is good. I'll tell you how. Especially for a person who is in business like me, a time will come and you have cash flow issues. The issue is, when do you pay that credit card? You acquire a credit card, there is a small fee to be paid. A credit card should be paid within 45 days. If you go beyond the 45 days, the interest is eroded. But if you pay within that particular time, then you don't have interest. The biggest, that is if you pay 100%, the biggest trap that people get into, you're told the minimum payment is 10%. So you will only be paying 10%. Your debt will continue accumulating. Your work in this world will be paying interest on the credit card. But just try, if I need 10,000, I borrow 10,000, I take 10,000 from my credit card. Before 30 days are over, I pay back my 10,000. You will never pay interest on that credit card. You will only be paying the fees for acquiring the credit card. And since your credit rating will always be high, your amount for credit will always increase. So I keep with me a credit card, but I ensure I have paid it within the time required so that I do not incur the interest cost. I will only incur the cost of having that card with me. So that always I can know I have probably 100 or 200,000 somewhere for me in case I need to fill that car when I'm going to see the client, and I know the client is going to pay me after that. So the money will be paid within 30 days or so. The thing is, with a credit card, look at your interest cost, minimize it. Do not pay the minimum charge of 10% only. If you do that, you're in a hole. Never pay less than 50% of what you owe on a credit card. That way, you'll be out of a cycle. Otherwise, credit card, you can get into a serious cycle. So that is what I would have to say. Any other question? Lady Noel?
Okay, so someone has just asked me, what about those debts that you have to take in order to save a life? Um, hmm.
Okay, which life are you saving? Somebody in hospital?
I think so, yeah. Maybe someone is in hospital, so like, yeah, someone is in hospital and you can't say that your clients are going to pay for it. You get me?
Yes. So you will get into emergencies like that and you find yourself borrowing. And that is where financial planning really comes on board. There are some things in life you should take insurance for. Insurance will actually work for you, like medical insurance. For those people that you care about deeply, the ones you can take a loan for, pay for them an insurance policy. You can take a loan for your children, for your spouse. You can take a loan for your parents. Those are the two sets of people that you should really get them into insurance. If you know you can take a loan for this person, take for them a medical insurance as much as possible. And I know sometimes the medical insurance goes bust. There is one thing that probably a number of people need to probably stop doing. I know we have got the black tax issue, but you need to stop becoming Jesus to your family. You can't save everybody. When you take that loan, you pay a loan. And a number of your family members will actually laugh at you when you're not able to keep up. So decide, and this is a financial planning decision that you do. Who is that person that I can take a loan for? If they are out of your angle, then that is where you discuss with the bigger family. Where you can take insurance for them, it is cheaper. Even if you may find a medical insurance, a good one is about 200,000 per year. When it is all covered, you have covered the whole of your family. You better pay that than being in a situation you take a loan of 1 million to pay medical, while the 200,000 would have paid. So it is an issue of planning. Financial
Oh,
planning, we are doing your financial planning that comes on board. I cannot overemphasize. The key thing is that do not become Jesus to everybody.
okay.
Yeah.
So, M-Pesa has made Kenyans more financially disciplined, but Fuliza is a problem. Comment.
Oh, there was, I think, even a more important question upwards, which was to do with education, which many Kenyans get into. How about education loan? You want to upgrade or something like that? You are paying for your baby education loan, and then I think we could even end it there because we cannot answer all questions. Time imeisha.
Yes. Education loan. And I know people just look at it and say, I really need to upgrade so that I can get this education loan. Depending on where you're going to do your degree or you're going to do something, the thing which you need to ask yourself is it a way you can negotiate with the university to be paying in installments? I look at my house help. My house help does not earn much, but she is never in debt for her child who is in high school. Why? Every month she pays school fees. Every month. She pays school fees every month. It does not matter whether it is April or August, there is a certain installment that is going towards school. And all that she had to do was to negotiate. And when she started off, yes, she was in debt in some terms. But when she continued, she caught up because it's a money that is paid on a monthly basis. She was no longer in debt. So right now, she's a prepaid parent in a school because of paying on a monthly basis. Sometimes all that requires is for you to negotiate with the institution. Then the other thing is you are taking the education loan. Ask yourself, why are you taking it? Can it even add anything to your pocket? Because there are some degrees, some courses we take. for status sake? What is it going to add to you? Or is it for you to be known as that person with a number of papers? So it is okay, but can you be able to negotiate for it? You should always ask yourself, an education loan, if it is going to bring a lot of income later, then well and good. But you should be in the current status, you should be able to pay for it and not put you in distress. If it is putting you in distress, don't take it. Don't take it, because you might end up not completing that course. But if in the current status you're able to pay for it, well and good, because it's going to bring income in future. So when you're taking a course, first thing, can I negotiate with the university? If not, or even for your child. And for your child, if you're able, get an education policy as early as possible, depending on the kind of education that you want for your child. That will help. It will help you a lot. Or build a business that can be able to pay for that school fees. Yeah. Somebody asked
Okay,
for the
thank you so
M-Pesa,
much.
I leave it there. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. We are also going to put the speaker's contacts in the chat. So if you have any more question, you can just talk to him. There are his contacts, because we can stay here the whole day talking about this. So I call upon Professor Melvin Glimmer to give a vote of thanks. Professor, where are you? I know you're here.
I feel like Professor Hamo. Do you know Professor Hamo? Okay, fine. Uh, I really want to thank Esther for doing such a wonderful job today. And she brought it home so well. My take-home message is the cost of capital needs to be weighed very carefully against the return on investment. And that's my take home. But there were so many nuggets inside there, and her personal journey through debt and having to sell that asset which she was so emotionally attached to is a lesson that each one of us can take home with us. That when you're in debt, you need to get rid of what is it called? Non-performing assets. Okay, so that washing machine which you bought but you have never used, Lady Noel, you can sell it before the auctioneers come and pick it up for nothing. Right? That music system, which costs 200,000 shillings, you can get rid of it so that you become debt-free. So becoming debt-free, according to Esther, is not a painless operation. Okay? So we have people like Esther around here who can help you plan your finances. If you cannot have a meeting with yourself, if you have a meeting with somebody like Esther, I'm sure you've put your contacts in the chat, Esther, so that the audience can pick up this conversation with you. Because too many of us are in bad debt. And we need to convert that bad debt into being debt-free and just take on good debt, which will realize a profit, and that debt will be paid by our customers. So besides Esther, there were very many people behind the scenes. And I think it's only fair that I mention them. And one of them is Lady Noel, who has woken up very early in Diani to be with us. She is part of the Power Monday team. We have Antonia Mutunga, who always helps to put this show together. And we have Daniel Odhiambo Lale, who may well have woken up in time to be with us today. And finally, the indefatigable author of Live Your Dream, one Otieno Paul Peter, Rotarian and business trainer extraordinaire, for bringing us here together. Thank you so much. And let me not forget the audience for being with us today. I'm sure you're leaving here richer than when you came in, and I'm sure that you got strategies for getting out of debt from Esther's remarkable story. Thank you very much, and back to you, OPP.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Otieno Paul Peter, where are you? So guys,
Somebody was
Otieno,
about to ask whether you are OPP. I think we've had a fantastic session, and like I said, when we shared this message, we said join early or get locked out, and I know many people got locked out because we were at our maximum, which is 100, which is a good thing. Yeah, we don't need to have a baraza. The rest we can get it from YouTube. It's always there, uploaded by Wednesday of the week. And then the other thing is, let's come and meet and greet. Let's meet together. For people who are within Nairobi and the environs, we are going to have a meet and greet next week on Saturday on 29th from noon onwards, Riverside Drive, JJ McCarthy Retreat Center. It's good to build a network, and everyone is invited. It's only 1,800 Kenya shillings, and we've put in the payment details in the chat. Please consider subscribing. We've got to finish registration this week by Friday so that we send to the venue the exact numbers. And for people who may want to display their merchandise, just add 5K. You will come with your banner, you will come with your flyers, and even the products themselves, and get a table and display. And the other thing is, you can always join Power Monday WhatsApp group. I have put a link there in the chat. And we always only advise that don't just share it to the public. Oh, there is this group, WhatsApp group. People send such emails. We say, no, no, no. It's for people who've ever been to Power Monday. You know what it is. Not that you are told in some meeting, some wedding committee, and now you go fill in and join. No, be people who have been here and you know what it is about. Otherwise, let's all be there. I expect that we be many of us joining the meet and greet. Then Live Your Dream also has a course, a full-fledged course on personal finance management, which takes uh, at least 2 days, 2 full days. It's 6 hours. You can always sign up, make inquiry. I had put a link there. For YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/at Power Monday. I'd also put a channel. I'd put it. I'm going to put it again. I'm answering this because of the questions that I see there in the chat. Otherwise, thank you all. We meet again next week. Yes, back to you, Lady Noel.